Hey, what's up, guys? It's Captain 66, and I'm here sponsoring Darth Sidious 33 Twitter account. Here today we are going to discuss Episode 4, A New Hope, the original Star Wars movie. This is what started everything. Without this movie, there would be no others. Let's look at the original 1977 release briefly. There was no title. The name A New Hope came in a lot further. A couple years later when they re-released it, and I mean some of the things that were added were they added in Jabba, a Jabba scene which was really cool, and just some other things here and there, just little bits here and there, just to make the movie, the special effects in the movie a little better, and of course. We cleared up who shot first in the special edition. First, you got to look at it as being the first movie in the series, because that's what it originally was. Okay, so it was the original movie. It plays out pretty good, and it ends to where they kept Vader alive at the end, to where it could have led into another one. But if they never would have made another one, it had a satisfying ending to the movie. Now, looking at it from the prequels, if you see the prequels first, then you got going from Revenge of the Sith with Vader turning, or Anakin turning to the dark side, and Obi-Wan and Yoda's, well, not really Yoda because he's not in this movie, but Obi-Wan fleeing to the desert, and then Luke and Leia being separated and being in hiding. So you get the next movie, and you see that it's 19 years later, and Luke's grown up, and Leia's grown up, and there's still Vader, still Anakin, still being Vader, still being bad, and Obi-Wan's this old man and stuff, and then like the lightsaber duel of Obi-Wan versus Vader, you're like, oh man, it's been 19 years since these two have faced off, and here they are doing it again. But you could also look at it from the Rogue One side of things, where you look at Rogue One and you watch Rogue One, and you see how all those characters and the meaning back and what it took to get the Death Star plans, and it's really just Rogue One really lifted up A New Hope, because A New Hope used to be, I think, was one of the lowers. I mean, it's the original, so you have to love it because it's the original, but if you're looking at, I mean, it has probably the least amount of action of any of the movies, has the least amount of lightsaber dueling, not counting the newest Last Jedi, and it's just, it's a little bit slow at times. So, now there's a character who is really cool, and you get him, it's really his only movie. I mean, you got a CGI version of him in Rogue One, but really, Tarkin is, like, amazing, and I'd love to see a standalone Tarkin movie, but, you know, obviously that would have to be with CGI for the main character of the whole movie, and I don't know if they'd do that or not, but I think his character really was great in this movie. Okay, now, there's a scene in this movie that is, I think, probably the most gruesome, gross, bloody, gory scene of all time in any Star Wars movie, and that is when Luke finds his aunt and uncle dead. Especially watching on an HD TV on the Blu-ray, that part comes, you're like, oh my gosh. I mean, that's PG, you know, and people say Revenge of the Sith, Anakin burning. Anakin burning is gross, but it's a little more, I don't know how to say it, because it's so quick, and it looks a little fake, or because just the way it is. I don't know for sure what it is about it, but probably because it was done with CGI and stuff. Whereas This was like, I mean, it was like makeup, and they probably brought in real skeletons, and they breaded them up with flesh and blood, and it's really gross. I mean, I've never actually paused the screen and looked at it closer, because seeing it for the 2 or 3 seconds that you see it on screen is bloody enough for my taste. So I just have a few things to say. Um, I briefly mentioned it. I'm gonna briefly mention it again. The lightsaber duel is of Obi-Wan versus Vader is kind of pathetic, but as watching it as being the first ever lightsaber duel in 1977, and then if you watch the updated version, the actual duel itself is no different, but the special effects are just a tad better. That's about all there is to say about this movie. This is definitely one of my lowers of everything I've said, of how it built up, how Rogue One built it up and everything. This movie is still definitely one of my lowers personally. Probably partly because my master Darth Sidious is not in this one, and like I mentioned earlier, it has by far the least action of any of the Star Wars movies, and the least lightsaber dueling. So that's all we have to say. Thank you for listening. Do like and subscribe to this Star Sidious page, and until next time, may the Force